This is True Buzz, that Mary J. Now we ain't new to this. For my stoners and for my cannabis enthusiasts, never heard a show as good as this. Number one, it's the best. Bringing in many special guests in the industry of cannabis. Business owners to growers, even artists you know of. So sit back and just roll up. Perfect show for my smokers. True Buzz, hey.
Welcome to the True Bud Show podcast, my friends. It's Jack Woltering here, coming at you with a solo podcast today. We're going to dive into some news articles. I'm going to talk about some products I've been trying on the market and, kind of some videos I have coming down the pipeline on the True Buds TV channel. So firstly, let's start with what's been my favorite tincture on the market. So if you guys have watched my content or seen me make stuff, you guys know I enjoy edibles, tinctures, smoking, beverages. I enjoy it all. But I've been trying tinctures, since I've been out in California. I think the first one I had was from Absolute Extracts, I believe. And then I've had a bunch of others. I think I've had most on the market. Every now and then I'll see a new one. Like I hadn't seen this one before. This Lights Out broad spectrum high THC here. Pretty good. Marshmallow by Yummy Karma is the brand. So hits pretty good, pretty solid. I do have to take a fair amount of that. Lately too, I've been experimenting with the Papa Barkley's 1 to 3. I'm honestly not a huge fan of this one. I don't know if it just doesn't hit me as good. I don't know if it's because I'm taking more. I don't know if it's because of the oil base. I'm not too sure what exactly is going on there, but that's why I experiment. And it's an MCT oil base, which I've used before, which works for me. So this is solid. I don't know what the base is actually on this one. Let me check this out. Do they have the ingredients on here? I guess you got to go online. It's probably on the box that I threw out. But let me get to my main point here of my favorite tincture I've had consistently on the market is from Mary's, the Remedy THC here. Comes in a nice small bottle. The tincture has a nice like golden little hue to it, and it has a really nice full spectrum taste. And this one just hits me the most consistent of any tincture I've ever tried. Like I said, I'm going to feel all these other ones. They're potent, but for some reason, the Mary's, the Remedy THC, it just set really well with me. So that inspired me. I'm like, what's going on here? Then I looked and said it had a safflower oil is the primary infusion there. So let me read the primary ingredients off here in case you guys are considering making your own here. Safflower oil, cannabis extract, lemon flavoring, and lime flavoring. So it has a citrusy, nice cannabis taste to it. I've never made any infusion with safflower oil before. So this will be a first infusion coming at you guys. We're going to do a super potent tincture. I got about 1.5 ounces of flower we're going to put in there. They use a concentrate, so I'm going to dabble with that more. But with the flower, I don't really mind the taste of having, flour in my stuff. So back up for a second. I get this question all the time about decarbing. And the more I talk to people, chefs and infusion experts, is it's more your choice and what you're going for. If you decarb, you're going to activate that delta 9 THC. You're going to convert that THCA, the THC. Now with that, you're going to get a more potent high, that just delta 9 THC high. However, if you do not decarb, you're going to get more of that full spectrum feel because the terpenes are going to be more intact and they're not going to be burnt off. Because most people do their decarbs around 200, 240. I've seen people even go up to 300, which is extremely high in my opinion. I usually do 240, 220 I've been dabbling with. So I think what I'm going to do for this one is do like a 1/2 ounce of decarbed flour, and then I'm going to do like 1 ounce of not decarb flour. So it's going to have that extra delta 9 punch, but it's still going to have that terpene profile for the full cannabis effect. Then I went ahead and bought these for the people, like I was saying before I had to go back. These little flavoring oils that are water soluble and oil soluble. So just open it, just tearing it. Oh shit. Pretty cool. Pretty cool. Let's see if they're actually water soluble. It says they are. Let's do a did a couple drops. It's looking pretty syrupy, but it does look soluble. It's reminding me of if you get like a cheap gin or something. Oh, it did dissolve pretty good actually. Let me see if I can taste it. Actually, pretty impressive. Not too bad. So, that's a tincture recipe I have coming down the pipeline. I'm really interested to hear what are some of your favorite tinctures. I enjoy them all really. Like these ones I pointed out are potent. The other brands I've had are good, but for some reason Mary's just hits right. It's that remedy for me, you know? Let me load a bowl up while we're about to go through this. Smoking on a little farm to lab here. Rose Rider. Rose cross with Sunday Driver. Super nice. And let me pull up this first article. Multitask here. So, Oregon ban on synthetic cannabis products will be nation's first. Now, this is pretty interesting for several reasons. I think the most important, Oregon is set to become the first state to ban synthetic cannabinoids sold at grocery stores and other retailers beginning next month. Regulators say they're restricting sale of the products over concerns about the chemicals used in production. But the move comes at the opposition of cannabis producers like Wild, whose top selling gummies include synthetically created version of a cannabinoid known as CBN. I didn't know that about those Wild gummies are really fucking popular, by the way. So I wonder who's teaming up behind this. If it's like an Oregon based, maybe edible company who's like, let's get them out of here. But it's an interesting thought. Cannabinoids are compounds found in cannabis. A chemical process can be used to isolate them or create them synthetically in enough abundance to use a consumer product. Synthetic cannabinoids that don't contain THC, the ingredient in marijuana, have been basically unregulated. So you get the point there. So they're going to come in, and anything that's synthetically created, they're going to get rid of. Now that being said, this is something I would have to do a lot more research on, and actually like diving into like the molecular level, because I wonder how different it is synthetically. Because I know some things that are synthetic, synthetically created can really mirror the original. But that being said, I don't know. I mean, if you had to extract cannabis derived CBN for all their gummies, that's going to up their price point for Wild, let's say, a serious amount. Let's pop over to the next one. Okay, this was super interesting to see. I've always wanted to go to Thailand. I've heard great things. And that last article, where did I read that from? Just trying to give credit here. OregonLive.com. This next one is off the Washington Post. Thailand legalizes marijuana with gray areas and caveats. Wow, sounds kind of like New Jersey. Sick piece I got from that new dispensary, Woody Harrelson's, The Woods in West Hollywood. Super dope. When I went in there, it was really cool too. The Box Brothers, I've had them on this podcast. They do that original box vaporizer. They had a nice setup right in there because Woody gave him a plug back then. So that was dope. Also, side note real quick before we dive in. You guys know, maybe you don't, I work for Koan Cordials, these amazing precision calibrated little cannabis shots. And we just got into the artistry in West Hollywood. We're going to have cannabis cocktails rocking live in West Hollywood. So I'm super excited about that. Really cool lounge space. And let's be fun to make some cannabis drinks. So if you're in the area, come roll through. Big dude, I watch you on True Buds TV. I will personally buy you a drink. But let's take a little delight here down the hatch anyway. Wonderful. Thailand on Thursday made legal the growth and trade of marijuana within set parameters, becoming the first country in Southeast Asia to do so. Thai Health Minister Antoine Charnvukul told CBN, that was terrible, I'm sorry, that hopes that will move to boost the country's ailing economy, particularly its agricultural sector, which has been hit hard by rising fertilizer costs amid disruptions in the global supply chain. The country's tropical climate makes it an ideal place to cultivate the plant, and the government has to take steps to establish each cash crop. The health minister said last month the government would distribute 1 million free cannabis plants to jumpstart the sector. That's fucking awesome. Although Thailand legalized the use of medical marijuana in 2018, Anatan warns that those who are caught using the drug in non-productive ways, such as smoking joints outside, will still be met with harsh penalties and could face up to 3 months behind bars and a fine up to $780. Officials said they were not looking to cultivate marijuana field tourism. We have emphasized using cannabis extractions and raw materials for medical purposes and for health. There has never once been a moment that we would think about advocating people to use cannabis in terms of recreation or use it in a way that could irritate others. While that might not be the official line, that changes the practices that are likely to create sustainable gray areas. A healthy minister have told nearly 100,000 people registered. The Thai Food and Drug Administration has removed marijuana and hemp from its Category 5 narcotics, allowing cafes, restaurants across the country to serve cannabis-infused products that have no more than 0.2% THC, the plant's main psychoactive compound. Okay, so this is really cool, but once again, there's a lot going on here to unpack because you can still get in trouble for it, but it's still legal. So it's just a nice step forward, and it makes me want to go to Thailand more. Like Thai food is one of my top cuisines. I'm a huge food guy. I love the fresh flavor, fresh herbs, no pun intended. But this also gives me an idea I had that I think would be really cool. So if you're out there and you're looking for a new cannabis product, I thought this would be a cool idea. Is a Thai stick. If you're an OG or wherever, depending, maybe you saw them a lot in the East Coast or where you were, but Thai sticks were pretty hot commodity buying them out there, and they look cool. It's kind of that it's kind of a novelty item, but it's also for the OGs, and new people will be intrigued as well. So I'm saying let's bring a Thai stick back to the market. Uruguay and Canada are the only two countries that have fully legalized the recreational use of marijuana. As of 2018, the possession and consumption of cannabis weed made legal in Georgia. Most recently, in 2021, Malta became the first European Union country to legalize recreational cannabis for personal use. A Supreme Court ruling in Mexico last year could open the door for legalization there. But there's places moving the opposite direction, like Hong Kong. I'm not going to dive too much into the legalization aspect. We've talked about that a fair amount. So we'll pop over to this next one here. What's this? Oh, this site's actually really cool. I love actually to have these writers or people on my podcast. It's a LA Cannabis News. I have not seen this site before, but it's nicely put together. Grover, just like I was talking about, nice segue into the lounges. Grover Beach approves cannabis consumption lounges. The Grover Beach City Council has voted 3-1 to approve cannabis consumption lounges within the city limits. That means that the 4 existing cannabis dispensaries can begin planning for on-site cannabis use areas. Good for them. Can't wait to check this shit out. One major concern for the city leaders and members was the community is the odor. I love the smell of some fresh ganja. Get over it. But they had to put special fans in place. To address that, the ordinance includes a requirement for absorbing ventilation and exhaust systems to prevent odors from seeping into adjacent properties. It's still going to be hard to do. It's still probably going to seep, and people are still probably going to get upset. And all I have to say is get over it. A number of other Californian cities are now allowing cannabis consumption lounges, including West Hollywood, Artistry, baby. Let's make some cocktails. But Grover Beach is the one of the first cities on the Central Coast to welcome these businesses. Next, we take a hit, and then we look at another article. Rose riding, man, on a Sunday driving. Okay, we got this. I'm looking at, what do I have pulled up here? Oh, buy weed in the metaverse. I thought this was pretty cool. I'm super amped up on NFTs in the cannabis space, metaverse, all that. I feel like will be super interesting. I feel like it will really be adopted by the culture. And some of us barely understand what the metaverse is, but evidently you can now buy weed there. Saucy Farms and Extracts, the Higher Life CBD dispensary, have launched the first THC products in the metaverse. Smart move. According to their press, organically grown flower strains, cannabis oil cartridges, and keef pre-rolls can now be found at the Higher Life CBD dispensary on near 3 Dentwright Street near Igloo 3 and Crypto Voxels. Dope. Saucy items can be purchased with regular currency. I don't know anything about this brand, so I'm not plugging it, but I'm plugging the concept of this. And I was talking to a guy I know, a good friend of mine actually, who's doing some really cool stuff, and another dude I know who's a straight hustler in the space who has a really cool NFT brand he's launching. So more to come on that. And was that all the articles I had today? Yeah, I think I hit all the articles pretty quick there, ran through them pretty fast. Yeah. So that's a pretty wrapped up one for you. I'm sorry for the delay on this. Like I said, more coming. I need to get some lined up. If you know anybody or if you want to come on one, promote something you got popping, let me know. But other than that, I think we can about wrap this up. And seriously, guys, if you live in the Hollywood area or you're visiting this summer, summertime's right around the corner, drop me a message or drop me a comment, shoot me a DM on IG, TrueBuzz TV, hit me up. Let's see what's good. And let's get drinking some cannabis cocktails, man. That's what it's all about, having fun, hanging out, and of course, hustling, figuring out ways to turn your passion into cash. And it's hard, man. And that's the beauty of the passion part. I had a dude ask me the other day when I was at an event. He said, like, what's the biggest thing you would tell somebody looking to get into the space? And I said, you got to be really fucking passionate about it, because, you know, people think it's going to be this quick cash grab, and it is not. You know, it's a long haul game, and that's why I look up to the OGs. And even myself, man, I've been doing cannabis videos for 5 years, and I just do this for fun. Like, I didn't make $1 necessarily doing this podcast today, but I know I will in the long run. You know, I've made money previously through sponsorships and stuff, but when I'm doing these quick solo ones, I like to just knock them out in like quick, 15 to 25 minute spurts. And then, for the bigger ones, we'll start securing some more sponsorship. But my point is, it's a long haul game, man. It's hard to come in, create a brand, sell it off like that, or whatever you're trying to do. But that's why I built this the way I did, is because I do care about it. I am passionate, and I know that years down the line, this network is going to be extremely valuable. It's already extremely valuable to me, and I hope a bunch of you out there. So, keep tuning in, keep saying what's up. Check out my other channel if you haven't. And by the way, biggest giveaway to date coming up. We're giving away a T-Check 2 in the expansion kit for hitting 30K subscribers on TrueBuzz TV. So tune in for that, and I'll catch you guys on the next episode of the TrueBuzz Show podcast. Peace.
This is True Buzz, that Mary J. Now we ain't new to this. For my stoners and for my cannabis enthusiasts, never heard a show as good as this. Number one, it's the best. Bringing in many special guests in the industry of cannabis. Business owners to growers, even artists you know of. So sit back and just roll up. Perfect show for my smokers. True Buzz, ayy.